On today's podcast, how actors deal with toilet scenes, disease branding, using Latin as filler, entertaining the vulgar masses, permeable bongo tops, the phrase away in a hack, chalkboard fingernail psychology, things that they never covered on Oprah, creating fictional universes, and lots more. I've always been a great believer in the dictum quod escra arachnophobia, which, as you're no doubt fully aware, means nothing. It means absolutely fucking nothing. It's just a way of getting going. I used to do this years ago. I used to write blog posts, and I used to start by saying, I've always been a great believer in the dictum quod esse demonstrandum. With that particular one does mean something. I think I used it in a recent episode. There's one or two Latin phrases I know that mean something, but the rest of them no. Pile of meaningless drivel, meaningless piffle. Basically, it's like if I were to come along here now and get a spit bucket and spit into it, and then pour the spit onto the microphone and then record that, assuming it makes a sound. I presume it makes some sort of a bubbly, frothing sound of some sort. Or I'd try to, if not, I'd make some noise with the bucket clanking it around a bit. If I were to record that and put that up as a show now, that would be the same as if I was to just say some meaningless Latin thing, except I have a reason to do the Latin thing here, because it's a way to get going, it's a way to get started, it's a way to get stuck into the show, and I think on this occasion it's worked, it's done its job. We've got going, we've got the introductory segment up and running, it's up and running, we're away in a hack, as they say over. I used to have teachers say, oh, just do this and then do that, and then you're away in a hack, you're up and running. You're away in a. Does away in a hack mean anything abroad? Now that I think about it, I haven't heard the phrase in many years. Let's look it up now. Away in a hack. Not to be confused with away in a manger. Away in a hack. Let's have a look now. To be away in a hack. There it is somewhere in one word reference forums. Away in a hack. Hello, someone asked it in a forum. I recently came across this phrase when reading an Irish soccer article on the internet. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. I wonder if anyone knows the origins of this expression and if it is used elsewhere in the world. Well, that doesn't answer my question. It just asks it. Someone asked this in 2009 on some forum. Forum.wordreference.com. Someone replies helpfully, sorry Pedro, I've never heard the expression and I've no idea about its origins. Sad face. Well, don't fucking reply then if you don't know the answer. Jesus Christ. This is of no use to me whatsoever. These so-called resources on the internet, they often yield nothing. They yield about as much as an episode of this podcast does. At least this podcast doesn't claim to be it does sometimes, but only jokingly. It claims to be a source of learning or news and current affairs or whatever it suits me to say at the time. Anyway, hello and welcome to the show. Two dogs walk into a bar. One of the dogs goes straight up to the bar counter and says woof, and the man behind the bar says, who does this dog belong to? Whose is this dog here? And someone shouts, I think it's Bill Clinton's, and everyone laughs because anything that's derogatory or vulgar in any way gets a laugh these days. Nobody can stand up and ask a genuine question with an attempt to getting something done in this world without everyone searching for their vulgar humour in it. That's what I found anyway from the reaction to the previous episode of Into Your Head. The previous episode of Into Your Head, you may be aware, contained a song about Holocaust deniers, which I played on my harmonica. What else? A story about two pieces of shit walking into a bar. Two real pieces of shit. Pieces of feet. well, not real, because real pieces of feces don't talk or walk into bars, but they were real in this fictional universe which I created. Although in fairness, I didn't create a whole fictional universe. I only created a couple of square meters in front of the bar, and maybe the area between the door and the bar that they walked along to get to the bar. I didn't create a whole freaking people like to say this, to say, oh, the Marvel have created a new universe for Superman and Spider-Man. No, they haven't created a universe. No more than when you watch a television soap opera. They haven't created a whole country. Oh no, they create a shop. They create half a room, half a sitting room with 2 walls missing, I think you'll find, and a couple of shop fronts and half a street. The other side is all just cameras and crap, and maybe a door into a toilet or something that's not a real world. Ironically, if you have a set that has a toilet door on it, if you were to turn the camera around and face out into the part that's not meant to be seen, you'd see a real toilet there that's not used at all properly. They're afraid to use the real toilet for filming because that's considered vulgar. You can't be filming a real toilet. You have to film a cardboard toilet frontage, unless they're filming the inside of the toilet, which they do. They used to film the inside of the toilet quite a lot on the TV show House. They used to they'd be walking along the corridor having a medical discussion, and then they'd walk into the toilet and they'd show the toilet. It appeared fairly real to me, but I suspect there was all cardboard. They were pissing on a cardboard urinal. Hopefully not real piss, because that would destroy it. Not that it needs to last that long. It's just a temporary frontage. Would you not be better using a real urinal? But then, of course, the actors will go mad. They'd say, we're acting here. If you put us in front of a real urinal and have us really urinating, then we're no longer acting. You might as well just get in real people instead of actors. That's our profession. We're paid to act. Don't make us do real stuff. Pay us to pretend to do real stuff. That's where we get our satisfaction. That's what your actors would say to that. Anyway. The man behind the bar says, does anyone know who owns this dog? This dog. And he ignores the thing about Hillary Clinton because he's got a bit of class. He doesn't encourage that sort of thing. He just ignores it. He knows he has to tolerate it because that's kind of goes with the territory. But no, he's not going to humour them. He's just going to ignore them. He's got a bit of class and a bit of manners and a bit of cop on. No one answers any further because they've run out of jokes, and the dog says, I belong to me, I don't belong to anyone else, I belong to me. That's probably a song, is it? I don't belong to anyone else, I belong to me. It's probably from a musical. I don't belong to anyone else, I belong to me. Now this is a bit, I've messed up this story because didn't the dog just come in at the beginning of the story and say woof, and now I have him talking and singing songs. I suppose he can do both. He could be both barking and talking. Why not? It's not one or the other. He can have both. If he's going to be able to talk, then why not? Why can he not? Why couldn't he be able to bark as well? It's all fictional anyway. What does it matter? None of this matters. It's all a pile of crap. Get over yourself. Don't be taking stories about dogs going into bars too seriously. Anyway, the dog says, I don't belong to anyone else. I belong to me. I don't belong to anyone else. I belong to me. And the man behind the bar says, oh, where did you get those bongos? And the dog says, oh, a generous into your head friend of the show sent them some time ago. Aren't they great? 2 different size bongos, one bigger than the other smaller than the first one, and then you can turn them upside down. You could probably fill them up with energy drinks, although you couldn't because the tops, I'm not sure if the tops are permeable, but you'd probably destroy them if you poured liquid into the bottoms of them. But no, there's no floor in these bongos, so you could use them to contain something. I just don't think I'd put liquid into them. I don't think I'd put anything into them because that would be disrespectful towards the listener who sent them, and they're not designed for that. They're not designed for that. And the dog says, "Oh yes, these are bongos. A listener sent them in." And the man behind the bar says, "What do you mean?" And the dog says, "Oh, sorry, this is no, I meant no. Well, it's not bongos. I was just flapping my floppy ears against the side of my skull. It's another talent of mine. Not content with having learned how to talk the English language and go into bars, I've also learned how to use my floppy ears banging against my skull as a percussion instrument, or a pair of percussion instruments, I suppose. Is a pair of bongos an instrument or a pair of instruments? I would say in this case it's an instrument because they're attached. The two bongos are attached together as one, as a little attaching metal or plastic thing. A fine big bar here. I think it's plastic. A big hollow. Looks like a piece of solid steel scaffolding that you'd find up at the top of one of those skyscrapers that they're building in New York. Absolutely fantastic. In fact, that's an instrument in itself. This little hollow metal bridge connecting the two bongos. Listen to that. I'm tapping on that now. That's great. I hadn't realised that before. We'll make use of that in the future. Should the opportunity arise? Of course, there's an opportunity all the time, but we'll keep an eye on that, and I'll keep it at the back of my head. That's available to me, an extra musical resource for the program, or for how do you think that I do? I can do stuff outside the program that involves musical resources as well. You know, it doesn't all have to be in here. I do exist outside of Into Your Head podcast. Anyway, on with the show. I know what you're thinking there. You're thinking, oh. You're thinking, oh. You're thinking, oh. You're thinking, oh. I'm probably overstating this now, but you're certainly thinking, oh. Don't deny. You may automatically deny it and think, I am not thinking, oh. I'm not a moron. But no, you do that as automatically as you do breathing. It's just not as vital as breathing. You don't need to say, oh, at the beginning of every sentence. You don't need to say, You don't need to say, like, in every third word, like all the young people do now. Get out of these habits. Don't get out of the habit of breathing, but get out of these other superfluous habits. They take up time and space. They take up, you've only got a few decades on this planet. Don't be wasting them by saying, or thinking it, because I know this is what you're thinking. It's not what you're saying, but you're thinking, You're thinking, You're thinking, I wish I could stop thinking, but it's stuck in my head now because you keep saying it. I wasn't even thinking it in the first place, but I am now. It's a vicious circle of psychicness. It's not even real psychicness because you're not even reading my mind. But I kind of am now because I've planted, in your head, and now you're thinking it, and I know you're thinking it. So it's, in a way, it's psychicness. It's not traditional psychicness in the way that we've come to know from watching late night television programs where they come on and say, has anyone in this crowd been a comedian and done a routine where they say, those psychics, they stand up and say, has anyone in this crowd got a dead relative called John? And then they'll say, that's very hack, don't do it. And then someone will stand up and say, is that the same as a way in a hack? And the psychic will say, I don't think so, but I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with Irish phrases like that. Go and do a Google search for it. And someone in the crowd will say, I did a Google search for it, but I just came along the name of a podcast called Into Your Head number 687, A Way in a Hack. And then the psychic will say, I don't know how to help you then. I'm not psychic. I mean, I am psychic, but I'm not a frigging expert in language. I don't know everything. Being psychic isn't the same as knowing everything. It just means exactly what I spent the last 10 episodes explaining of this TV program that you're supposedly such a fan of that you sit in the audience, and the audience member will say, I'm not a real fan, I'm just here because they pay people to pad out the audience in these shows, although I'm probably not supposed to say that, am I? And the psychic will say, no you're not, Absolutely not. I think we'll be back after this commercial break. And then the audience member will say, oh, sorry about that. And the psychic will say, it's okay. We'll just take a little break here. It's fine. Are you going into your head? Listener Mitch.
Support the podcastual arts at no cost to you, just by sending Neal money. Visit intoyourhead.com and click on the tip jar to make a once-off donation. intoyourhead.com.
If you would like to comment on any of the issues raised in this program, email studio@intoyourhead.com. Remember, we value the opinions of you, the humble and ignorant listener.
Matchstick cats! Matchstick cats! Matchstick cats! Matchstick cats and stuff!
Are you a cat? Or do you know somebody who might be? Then tell yourself about Matchstick Cats, Neal's webcomic. Brand new episodes at intoyourhead.com.
Matchstick cats and stuff! intoyourhead.com.
Monkey nuts, that's what they call them. They call them big steaming, shit-eating, piss-piling, blackboard fingernail scraping. I wish they wouldn't call them that, quite frankly, because I'm so sensitive to the idea of fingernails being scraped down a blackboard, that even hearing the phrase fingernails being scraped down a blackboard gives me a bad fuzzy feeling in my head. I don't like. It's like... so it's basically like having fingernails scraped down a blackboard, which I have to admit I've never even witnessed. I don't think I've ever scraped my fingernails down a blackboard or witnessed someone doing it. I still know exactly what it would be like, and I don't like it. It's exactly like hearing someone biting their fingernails. Apparently I have an issue with fingernails. I don't consciously have it. I have nothing against fingernails in principle. I don't go around taking objection to people having fingernails. Oh no, it's just when I run through the thought of fingernails being scraped down the I have a blackboard right in front of me here, a little cheap €2 blackboard from a discount store. It's hung on a propped up mattress against the wall. It's attached to the mattress using a trousers hanger for some reason. I know exactly the reason. It's because a trousers hanger is perfect for hanging a little blackboard on, because it's got two clips that can hold the frame to it. That's exactly right. It's perfect. A trousers hanger, in case you're ever looking for something to hang up a blackboard, a trouser hanger is a perfect thing. It's absolutely fantastic. All you need is a hook or a mattress that's leaning against the wall that you can attach the hanger to, and you're away in a hack. It's absolutely fantastic. Now, don't come along and tell me that you've heard that somewhere before. No, that's original information there. You won't find that on Oprah, I can tell you. Oprah doesn't give you tips like that. I'm sure she's done episodes of her program where they have tips for handy tips for the home, but I'm pretty sure you won't have come across that. Although admittedly, I'm just guessing. I haven't verified this. Do you really need me to go and verify whether Oprah ever covered the idea of holding up a little blackboard using a trouser hanger? Do you? Is it really that important? I don't think it is. It's not important. It can be valuable without being important. It's a valuable tip, but it's not important. It's not a matter of life and death. So it just goes to show that's a valuable point. In fact, something can be valuable without being important. For example, I could have a bar of gold here in front of me. I could say that's valuable, but it's not important. It's just my frigging life savings to have been squeezed into a block of gold. Although now that's a bad example, because if I had a block of gold here, I would consider it very important. It's just not important in the grand scheme of things. Money and value and wealth is not important. Get that into your thick heads. It's not that I wouldn't turn down a block of gold If anyone wants to send me a block of gold that hasn't been stolen from somewhere, feel free, or else sell it and just donate the proceeds to the tip jar or whatever, or spend it on my Amazon links. But no, if you want to, not to say that, I'm getting worked up here over nothing. All I wanted to say here was, what was? Oh, it was monkey nuts. Monkey nuts, that's what they called them, etc., 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 etc. It was just a way of getting going. That's the problem with using the phrase like that. Using that monkey nuts, that's what they called them, etc. thing to get going. I get 4 minutes into the segment and I think, what was the purpose of this segment? How did I start it? And then I realise, I just started with a thing that I used to get going. And then I realise it's all meaningless. The last 4 minutes and 15 seconds of my life have meant nothing. They've just been filler. Nothing. Not that there's anything wrong with filler. Some of the finest cakes and sandwiches known to man are such because of their filler. Filler is not a bad thing. That's the people who make the sandwiches in Subway, for example. If you go up and say to them and say, I want a sandwich with no filler, as it happens they do sell that. You can get a little bit of toasted bread with a bit of cheese on it and toast it and get that as a cheap snack in Subway. Even that's got cheese on it, which is a filler, although they only give you one side of the sandwich, so it's I suppose an open sandwich, an open half sandwich. In fact, it's a quarter sandwich because they give you a half. They get a 6-inch long, which is half of a 12-inch long, and they give you one side of that toasted with a cheese on top. So I suppose it's technically an open sandwich. Well, it's not really. It's a bit of a... let's not get bogged down in those details here. Not that we've anything more important to do. And that's not to say, of course, that having something more important to do is important, although it's not unimportant either. Having something better to do is important if you have something better to do. If you have something more important to do, then it's important to deal with that. But if you don't have something more important to do, then having something important to do is not something that's important. It's not something you need to strive for, unless, of course, you're not happy with your lot, in which case you might have to strive for something more important. But maybe your life is too important and you're trying to wind down and downscale, downsize, and have less important things to do, in which case it's important, ironically, to devote some time to achieving that. So I don't know what to tell you. What am I, Dr. frigging Phil? No, I'm not Dr. Phil, although I have something in common because I'm not a doctor either, although I don't have a doctorate or anything. At least he's allowed to use the title doctor because he has a doctorate. People like to, I've discovered people like to they like to hold on to this little nitpick of information that they've picked up about Dr. Phil. They go, he's not a real doctor, he's a fake doctor. He's not a fake doctor, he's a fellow who has a degree, allows him to put doctor in front of him. There's other types of doctors besides medical doctors, there's doctors of mathematics, there's doctors of the English language, there's doctors of veterinary surgery, there's doctors of podcasting, there's doctors of nursing. I presume you can get a doctorate in nursing and become a doctor of nursing. You can go around saying, hello doctor, hello junior doctor, I'm a proper doctor, I'm a doctor of nursing. You're considered superior to me. Isn't that hilarious? Ho 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 ho, how I laugh. I'm going on strike now. That's what's happening nowadays. Everybody's threatening strike here in Ireland. Well, not everybody, some people are saying, everybody's taking our money away, we're going to go on strike, and then we'll have even less money, because when you go on strike, they say, we're not paying you for doing nothing, you're sitting around on your arse all day holding up a sign saying we're doing nothing, I'm not going to pay you for that. And the irony of it all is that at the end of the day, I don't know if I have to have a point here. I probably don't. Why would I don't need to have a point. We're just wondering, we're just doing the talkual equivalent of bringing your pencil for a walk. That thing you used to do in school where you get out your pencil and you get a big blank piece of paper and you just draw. You draw spirals and circles in a continuous line. It's called taking your pencil for a walk. And then when you're finished, you get out ball colouring pencils or crayons or paints and you paint in the shapes. And you have a fine piece of art that would put the likes of da Vinci to shame if he wasn't better than that. If he wasn't, Leonardo da Vinci considers himself above all that. Well, he doesn't anymore because he's dead. But I'm sure he did. He'd think, oh, some child got out a pencil and drew a line and coloured it in. I can do better than that. I can design helicopters that we don't even have the ability to build. That's what, was it Leo? I think it was Leo. It was either Leonardo da Vinci or Van Gogh. One of them used to go around designing helicopters in the 17th century that couldn't be built. It's all very... I can design a freaking time machine now in Microsoft Paint. That doesn't mean it's a contribution to the world. Would you fuck off out of that, Leonardo da Vinci, with your crap, and Van Gogh with your one ear, or was it... I get them mixed up. They're the two painters who I know most about. Leonardo da Vinci and Van Gogh. I know for a fact that one of them had a missing ear or was deaf in one ear or something along those lines, or maybe both ears, I don't know. If you're deaf in one ear, you're not deaf in the other ear, so you can just have the sound come in the other ear and have it bounce around in your head, and it'll all balance out. You just listen to stuff in mono, not the disease mono. There's a disease called mono, if I remember rightly. Let's look this up now. Mono, isn't there a disease called? I think it might be an STD, mono disease. Let's look this up. Infectious mononucleosis. Oh, it's short for that. It's not short for monoaural. That's how we distinguish it. Mono, in audio terms, mono is the singular of stereo, and it's short for monophonic or monaural or something. But in infections, it's the short for a mononucleosis or something. Also known as EBV, infectious mononucleosis, Pfeiffer's disease. Pfeiffer's the name of a company that makes freaking drugs. Have they named a disease after a drug? That's terrible marketing. Do you have a disease named after a brand now? No, that's fucking ridiculous. Or maybe it's not, I don't know. I'm not a marketing professional. Maybe that's a good thing. Is it good to if you're a drug marketing company, is it good to have a disease with your brand on it? I don't know. Maybe it's as long as people don't think you created the disease and invented it and contributed the disease to the world. What you should name the cure after your company, not the disease. You don't want the disease with your branding on it. Let's see, something to do with herpes. 90% of adults have been exposed to it. Blah, 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 blah. Symptoms can occur at a later period. I'm not reading all this crap. I'm not reading all these facts. I've better things to do than go around reading facts. There's more to life than accumulating knowledge, you know. You can make up... why would you accumulate knowledge when you can make it up as you go along? That's the thing. Kids have no imagination nowadays. They want all these toys manufactured for them. No, you can make toys out of nothing. You can make a toy with a piece of string and put a bit of stick at the end of it and wave it around in front of your cat, and the cat is perfectly happy. Or give it a cardboard box for my new lawnmower. Until Thursday anyway, it's recycling day. They'll be losing their cardboard box then, I can tell you, and that's it until the next purchase of something that comes in cardboard, which I think may well be Friday when I buy some stuff from Lidl that comes in bulk in boxes, and then we'll have more boxes then, and they can have them until Thursday fortnight. Where was I? Monaural. So monaural is not the same as mono something the disease. We never... Oh yeah, I should have read further down and looked into Pfeiffer naming a disease after themselves, or how that works. Maybe they named their brand after a disease. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. Would you want to name your I don't know. They seem to be making money anyway, wherever they're doing. Who am I to criticise them? They obviously know what they're doing. And suffice to say, belch. or suffice to make the sound belch. I don't need to name it. You don't need to label all of your sounds. Belch is not the same as an MP3 file. It doesn't need to be labeled and tagged. So if I belch, I don't have to say belch. Anyway, I think I'm running out of things to discuss here. So we'll say thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much, Mr. Eastwood. Oh no, that's a reference to something else that's not in this program. That's something that's on a new short program that I added earlier today to the extras and reruns feed. Intoyourhead.com/extras. There's a thing called Sewer Babies, a brand new extra program. Intoyourhead.com/extras. Anyway, good morning.
Into your